Well folks, what we got here is Dodge taking a page out of the history books and slapping it back on the showroom floor. The 2026 Dodge Ramcharger is back, and it's got all the makings of a modern throwback. Big, boxy, and built to haul everything, from groceries to a fully assembled hopes and dreams package. Only difference: this ain't your granddaddy's Ramcharger. Dodge went ahead and gave this beast an electric heart. But don't go getting all bent out of shape just yet. It's still got enough grunt to rip the pavement clean off the road. Now, they're calling this thing an SUV. But let's be real, it's more like a full-size truck that had its bed filled in with some family haulin' intentions. It rides on the same platform as the Ram 1500, but instead of an open box, they went ahead and threw a proper roof on it, added some extra seats, and called it a day. But Dodge being Dodge, they couldn't just let it be another boring SUV. Nope. They stuffed it full of power and made sure it still got the kind of attitude that'd make a rancher consider trading in his old diesel for something a little more shocking. See, under the hood, well, where a hood would normally be, they've gone ahead and crammed in the same powertrain from the Ram 1500 Rev. That means you got yourself a 229 kilowatt-hour battery pack sitting nice and low, keeping this beast planted on the road. And the juice? Oh, it's got plenty. We're talking up to 654 horsepower and 620 lb-ft of torque, enough to roast all 4 tires like a well-done steak on a county fair grill. 0 to 60? A blistering 4.4 seconds, which is downright silly for a machine that weighs about as much as a barn. And don't you go thinking they forgot about working folks. The Ramcharger still tows up to 14,000 pounds, which means you can haul a trailer full of classic Mopars to the drag strip without breaking a sweat. Need to go off-road? Dodge slapped on some Bilstein shocks, a 2-inch lift, and a set of knobby tires that'll chew through dirt like a combine in harvest season. And yeah, it's got 4-wheel drive, so when the mud gets deep, you ain't gonna be sitting there spinning your wheels like a squirrel on an exercise wheel. Inside, it's a mix of rugged and refined. You got yourself a big old touchscreen. In the middle, digital gauges that tell you way more than you need to know. And enough premium leather to make a cowboy jealous. And if you're one of those people who still thinks you need a key, well, think again. This thing starts up with a button press and the sound. Well, it don't exactly rumble like a good old HEMI. But Dodge added some fake engine noise that'll at least make you feel like you got something mechanical working under the hood. Now, here's where things get real interesting. Dodge figured some folks might not be ready to ditch gasoline entirely, so they went ahead and slapped in a range-extending 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. That means if you run out of battery, that little gas burner kicks on and acts like a generator, keeping the juice flowing so you ain't stranded on the side of the road like a guy who bet his last dollar on a clapped-out carburetor rebuild. Total range? We're talking over 800 miles if you're easy on the pedal. Which, let's be honest, most folks ain't gonna be. Dodge didn't forget about style either. The 2026 Ramcharger's got big, bold lines, an aggressive front grille with enough LED lighting to signal aliens in deep space, and a rear end that looks like it means business. And of course, it comes in a lineup of colors that range from good old-fashioned black to a wild high-impact orange that'll make sure nobody misses you when you're barreling down the highway. Now, what's all this gonna cost ya? Well, let's just say Dodge knows folks are willing to pay for a legend reborn. Entry-level models start around $70 grand, but if you want the full-bore, all the bells and whistles version, you're knocking on 6 figures. Ain't exactly cheap, but when you're sitting behind the wheel of 654 electric ponies with a V6 on standby, it kinda makes sense. At the end of the day, the 2026 Dodge Ramcharger is what happens when you take a classic name, mix in some modern technology, and crank the dial up to 11. It's big, it's bold, and it sure as heck ain't apologizing for what it is. Dodge brought the Ramcharger back to remind folks that SUVs ain't gotta be boring. And if this thing's any indication of the future, well, maybe going electric ain't so bad after all.